A reading from the Book of Snowflower. Strong Son of God, immortal love, whom we that have not seen thy faith, by faith and faith alone embrace, believing what we cannot prove. Thine are these orbs of light and shade. Thou madest life in man and brute. Thou madest death, and lo, thy foot is on the skull which thou hast made. Thou wilt not leave us in the dust. Thou madest man, he knows not why. He thinks he was not made to die, and thou hast made him, thou art just. Thou seemest human and divine, the highest, holiest manhood thou. Our wills are ours, we know not how. Our wills are ours to make them thine. Our little systems have their day. They have their day and cease to be. They are but broken lights of thee, and thou, O Lord, art more than they. We have but faith we cannot know, for knowledge is of things we see, and yet we trust it comes from thee. A beam in darkness, let it grow. It's time for Dungeon Dads.
Heroes rise, heroes fall. I see them on the front line, standing tall. They're risking life and limb to answer the call. But what they fighting for? Don't know, don't care, just along for the ride. But everyone must stand. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna win inside.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to Dungeon Dads. Every war must end. As always, I'm your DM, Tom Blaylock, and I'm joined today, as always, by John Watson playing the wizard Ionis Silhavind. What's up, John?
I'm good.
And Tim Carr playing the warlock Filnir Omajira. What's up, Tim?
Still trying to take it all in, trying to wrap my head around it all.
You guys ready to do this thing?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, when we left off, you saw the light wells follow your friend Abel after he was pulled back from the stone and he got to flame out in a sort of a blazer glory, for lack of a better word. And after a few minutes of you running down toward him, seeing skeletons explode, you saw him fight a giant troll skeleton. He disappeared into a room that was down at the bottom of the ramp, and the lights from the light well turned off. You still have your wall of force up?
No, he dropped that.
I
You
dropped
dropped it. Okay. And Filnir, you dropped your
the shadow of Moyle. It's gone. I'm over the armor.
And Felipe is there, and he's just delivered to you a real tongue lashing about military tactics. All right, we should come and do what we've come to do.
What is left to do, Felipe? Look around.
We must see what the beast has left. See if we have some way of truly claiming this cave for ourselves.
Aside from ridding it of the evil that was here.
We don't have an army to replace them, do we? Where were these things coming from? Where do these tunnels lead? Can we block them off? Can we turn them off?
We do have labor, but I suppose you make a point. We don't have miners.
Well, Filnir, if you're gonna bring that armor with us, then pick it up. If not, just leave it. Felipe reaches down and picks up the spear and twirls it around and says, It's a little bit long for me, but I've used all my dagger axes. Do you gentlemen mind if I carry the spear of Abel Snowflower?
Was it there? I thought Abel took it with him down into the room.
Was it
Yeah.
a magic weapon? Because if not, it would have
It is a
disintegrated
magic
too.
weapon. It is a
Okay.
magic weapon, but you're right. It's not there. Never mind. I would like to carry the spear of Abel Snowflower.
Felipe scampers off into the other room and comes back out.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. Not yet.
Well,
What's there, Ionis?
I'd at least like to confirm where he went and what happened. Maybe we could venture forth. Do I see anything? I guess I don't see anything laying around here that looks like an urn or some kind of jar.
No phylactery.
Where you are now, no, you don't see anything like that. I'll tell you, it is dark AF. And I know you had smoked your Bulla cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
You're definitely gonna have to take another drag, but it's so dark down here. Even you, Filnir, like it's almost a complete lack of any light at all. So with your dark vision, you can still see things, but it's so gray. It's so like everything is so gray where you are right now.
Well, feeling that we are relatively safe. I'm gonna pull a torch out of my backpack and put my hand on my spell book to check on it.
Okay. So your spell book is not in your backpack.
Where could it be? I'm looking all over for it. Where?
Yeah.
It's not here.
Oh, what's not here, Ionis?
My book. I put it here in my bag.
You didn't leave it. That's right, you brought it.
I needed it if we were going to have any of my rituals.
Where could it have gone? Who was in your bag? Felipe, what have you done with his book?
It's not I.
Well then, there's no one else here, is there?
We have just fought a great caster, greater than any of I have ever seen, and I have seen the Moonbrook elves in action.
Have you seen a mage hand snatch something out of a backpack unnoticed?
I did not see such a thing.
No, nor did I.
Perhaps it is here somewhere.
I'll light a torch as well.
Okay. And he looks at you expectantly and asks, and sort of like with his hand out,
Do you need another one?
I have for another. Felipe, yes, please.
Okay, I'll give him one. That's fine.
Okay.
I have enough. And then I'll stand up slowly and sort of poke my eyes toward the cave that Abel went to at the end. We haven't explored that yet, right?
No, you have not.
Okay.
Yes, let's do this.
How close are we? How close are we to the body of Brinque?
The body of Brinque is how was he killed? He was ended with a sunbeam. Is that correct?
I think Abel did it. He was invisible. I hit him with a fireball, and I think then Abel hit him with a sunbeam.
The dust of Brinque is not far from you, but 30, 40 feet. You can get to him and get to the dust of him. There's some robes there that are clearly like have been cooked by your fireball. He has no items that clearly there, but you do know that he, just from what Florn told you, he is a collector of things. So likely these things are not going to be too far away.
Well, my question then is, he's dust?
He's dust.
Okay. Because I had set up a contingency that if I got within 5 feet of him, that I would do a thunder step.
But is it him?
Yeah, that's the question. I think he's been changed into a different form of matter now.
I
So.
guess, yeah. What was the wording on your contingency? Right.
Yeah.
Let's get a lawyer over here. And
I won't make you blow up Filnir and Felipe with a thunder step. I think you've done enough.
I think you're probably right. So yes, if that has a,
Tim's face right now. Oh my god.
I'm trying to look out for you, Tim. um, the first thing Jonas would do would be to check the Alhoun dust and the
Okay.
robes and things,
Yeah.
and check and see if there's a book or anything on him.
It
And-
looks frightfully similar to the leftover dust that Abel left behind.
Okay. And as you said, nothing on him.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing there.
Mhm.
Like there's no rings. There's no nothing. There's no nothing. And you know the stuff that you launched at him would probably only take care of like clothing, maybe.
Right,
But
right.
you know, but not even like leather armor or anything like that. It's nothing there.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'll check it. And then with missing my book will kind of shake me out of my zombie-like state, and I'm going to push on toward that room.
Okay. Do you have locate item or anything like that
I
on
don't.
your character sheet?
I don't.
Okay. All right. So Felipe gets sort of toward the opening of this extra room, and he extinguishes his flame, and he says, "Human, I think you probably ought to do the same. Come close, come close." And he casts on you, and he says, "As we move through this space of the cave, let our feet fall like rain through the clouds." And you kind of you feel the difference, and you can sort of see as you're walking. If you would like to, you can sort of step on things without causing sound. It's almost like you can see pathways in the darkness that would allow you to sort of blend in a little bit with the cave walls. And he says, "Let us go. This room is large, and it is foreign to me."
But aren't
We do
we
not
safe?
wish
Why
to
do I need
see.
to? Why do we need to exchange? Why do we need to extinguish our flame?
I would rather not disturb anything that is here. I do not detect anything right now, but
Would we not be better off seeing it coming?
well, you and I should have no problem with that, half-elf.
Fair enough, but we can see further. But I suppose it can see us as well.
It might be able to see us.
I'm gonna send Saber in and do his 60-foot echolocate, and I'm gonna see through him.
Okay. So that's awesome. So this room, I won't belabor it. I described it last week, or last time. It's very big. The probably 200 feet across the room. I'm assuming he's sort of flying around like a drone, mapping this thing out a little bit.
Yeah.
There is the dais looks like a giant sacrificial table, and there is a humanoid form that has like slumped over and it looks like is dead. There is a door to the west that looks very ornate, and it's about 7 or 8 feet. It's about 8 feet high, but other than the fact that it's very large, it looks like a normal door. And then from the dais, you can see that there is, it looks like a wall, but with his echolocation, Saber sends back a message that like that wall seems to be false. If he flies over close to it, there's about 30 feet beyond the illusion, and then he senses just pure iron.
Okay. I relay this to my comrades, and I say it appears to be It appears to be safe. Filnir, I may leave. I may leave my torch aflame. What do you say?
I'm up for it. And I'll dismiss my bow and bring back Quiet Dark, put it in its scabbard so that I've got it on my person, but I'll hold the torch.
All right. And Felipe says, "Yeah, do you mind if I go a little ahead of you then, outside of the range of the light that your
Be our
torch
guest.
is? I plan to go to the door. Do you see the door there, half-elf?
I do.
I think we should go there.
Should we not check the chamber around it first?
Good idea." All right. So
we'll move in.
all right. And when you get closer, because you have to walk past the dais to get there, and when you get over close to it, it actually shape-wise almost identical to all the other ones that you have seen. Similar undercommon markings on it. It does have a gutter that goes around it that it's crusted in blood
Mm-hmm.
and recent blood, and you also see several like tentacled octopus faces all along the top of the dais that looks like it's been drawn with a finger, is perhaps giving it a little too much control, in the sense of like it's not perfect. It's sort of, but it looks like either a child with large thumbs has done this or something else, but it's clearly face of something like an octopus but with tentacles on it. It could be an illithid. Sort of hard to tell with just sort of crusted blood.
And is the humanoid that was slumped over, is that
Dark
humanoid
gray skin,
certainly
the
dead?
mask, yeah, it's definitely dead. The mask that it's wearing has been just like chopped to pieces. But it is clearly what you would guess is like a mask of Ehi.
Okay.
And then this thing, it looks kind of like a human. Give me a history or Arcana check. Either one.
Just Filnir?
No, you can both give it to me. Felipe doesn't recognize this shit at all. He tells you so.
Oh shit! Natural 1. God damn it!
Natural 1.
Got a +8 on that mess.
History check. 15 total.
You have heard about these things as an ambassador and a person who works in historical societies and around historical societies. You've never seen one of these things before, but this is what's known as a grimlock. It is basically the human equivalent of a Durgar. Several generations at least of humans who have lived underground without going above the surface. And this thing has holes in his right cheek and his left cheek that sort of align, that have healed up, but are still, looks like he probably couldn't drink water without things spilling out from it. And you can see that the mask that he was wearing actually has spikes that would fit into his cheeks in the two places they've been pierced. Other than that, he looks like a sort of a spindly 6'1", 6'2" human. If you search him, feel around in his robes, and he has, it would almost be comically large.
Okay, wait, hold it right there.
Oh.
I don't know if I want that information. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Oh. Yeah. It's like a comically large key. And it is wrought iron, and it looks like it has been crafted out of the exact same thing as the demon's swords that
Okay.
that Abel picked one up of. Like it's even sharp on one of the sides that has been sort of twisted around to form the basic shape of a key.
I
Heavy, like
suppose-
10 pounds. Like this thing is like this key is like 10 pounds.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's pure iron.
I suppose I'll search him then and find that.
Oh, that's it. I mean, that's super easy. That's like his robes are pulling him down by this
Because of the
thing.
key. Yeah.
Because of the key. Yeah.
This may be useful, but I think we can leave it for now while we check the rest of the room.
Agree.
I'll point it out.
By the gods, Filnir, what is that thing?
It looks to be an oversized key, but if
And
we
that's
are
the
in...
thing sitting here.
Oh, it is a grimlock. It is... Well, you know what a Durga is. It's essentially a human version of a Durga. They've lived underground. They've lost their skin tone. They've adapted to life in the dark.
Why do you suppose only gnomes remain heroic when they live underground? Just the Sverfnerblin are the only ones who seem to maintain their sanity. Have you noticed that?
Until just now. But
Drows are still proud creatures, but they do pray to terribly evil gods.
I suppose that's just a matter of the perspective, but
Yes.
we have humans that pray to evil gods as well, don't we?
I suppose any god of war would count as evil depending on which side you're on.
I would appreciate
Watch your tongue, Felipe.
you speaking better of the fallen.
I just want you to know he spoke to me several times, and I did get the sense from him he was no fan of his god. He seemed to feel trapped by his god.
Abel's relationship with Tempest was certainly curious, sometimes adversarial. I will not disagree. Ionis, is this the wall that you were saying was not really there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this one here. I'm gonna just get away from the conversation and put my hand.
I'll walk at it like a blindfolded person trying to feel,
Yeah.
but like I'll reach for it like I can see it, but just like try to reach through.
Yeah, as soon as you touch it, your hand goes right through it, and you see that it's an illusion, but it's not a magical illusion. It is actually the way the walls have been cut. It produces this effect that's almost like a magic eye effect.
Okay.
That it looks like it's pulled out a little bit. But once you sort of recognize that it's not actually there, you can see that it's sort of obscuring a 20-foot high iron gate that is barred from your side with an iron rod that is probably 25 feet long, a foot and a foot wide, square. So it's sort of a square shape that extends all the way across for 20 feet. This thing, it's hard to even imagine how much this thing weighs, but it looks like if it could be lifted 3 or 4 feet, you could unbar this door. It is not rusted at all. It looks like it's well tended, like a cast iron griddle.
Well, we may need help with this one. That is solid iron, 20 feet long. We might be able to leverage it somehow, but maybe it's prudent to have reinforcements first in case we have adversaries on the other side.
Yeah, what on earth could be there? What would an illithid like this be so afraid of that he would bar the door?
Are there gates? I mean, is it gated like prison bars?
No, it's like
Solid.
a solid iron gate.
Okay. Well, I suppose.
And it opens out. Sorry, it opens in. It opens in toward you. So the
bar keeps it closed.
hinges are on your side.
Right.
And they also look very well tended and well oiled.
Well, perhaps we explore this after we've explored the other door. Is there
Yes,
anything else in that?
perhaps.
Is anything else in that room? I thought you mentioned.
Yeah, there's several large amphora jugs that are around that have huge amounts of dust in them, and some of them have scenes drawn on them that look like battle scenes, and it looks like things have been burned inside of them. And when I say huge, I mean 5 feet tall
Good grief.
and 2.5 to 3 feet wide at the narrow, radius at the narrowest, and out to 5 or 6 feet. It's a sort of like balloon out like a vase, and they sort of come up and narrow at the top. This is a room that was made for and by giants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ionis, you mentioned. Wait, did you mention in character, or was this you asking out of character, John? If there were like, when the phylactery question, that was out of character, right?
That was out of character, yeah.
All right, never mind. Ionis, what do you think these would be for? Do you think these are decorative? I mean, they're in a giant's mind, but
I do not know if they're actually burning things within them. I mean, they could be just some form of torch, but it doesn't seem right. I'm going to run an Arcana check on the room.
Can I put my torch on top of one?
Sure.
Like hold it above and just see if anything catches?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can reach in it because they're pretty high, right? Or are they on the floor?
They're on the floor. You could actually. You're 5'4", is that right?
Yeah, I'm short, but yeah, I think that's right.
If you step on your tiptoes and sort of like crane your neck, you can
5'3",
see the dust that's in there.
Right.
So you can definitely put a torch up in it,
just to see if anything catches.
So when you lift your torch up and hold it over the amphora, the torch lights up not far away the face of Felipe Madamba, and you can see that he is visibly shaken. Looks like he is ready to run out of this room.
Felipe.
And he says, I've seen this before.
What is it? Tell us.
These are the things they would put you in order to make you into a sword.
Should we destroy them?
I don't know. I think they've just been used. I don't know.
Is that what that Grimlock? Does this look like they just channeled someone? Is that what you're saying?
Is it hot?
Is it hot? Separately from where my torch touched?
It's warmer than the room. But it's not like it's like a fire that's been out for 20 hours, but there's still a few embers in there.
It feels maybe a bit warm, but not very recently hot, but warmer than it should be in this room. It should feel cool, and it does not.
Lift me up. Lift me up.
Okay.
And
I'll let him climb my knee and go up as he needs to.
He goes up and he reaches his hand in the amphora, and he like moves his hand around, and he pulls out one of these iron giant machete looking demon swords, and he says, "This is not charneled, but they were going to do it, and I believe." And he smells it, and he turns it around. He says, I think they weren't going to just put one creature into these. This amphora is full of burned meat. And he produces from his hand that he's had stuck in the thing in there, and he sort of rubs the dust between them, and it falls through, and you can see, almost like panning for gold, as the dust sort of goes away, he has small pieces of burned bone all in his hand, and he says, "Evil, evil," and he drops it back in, and he says, "We should burn it all. We should burn all of this down."
But how do you burn a mine? It's stone. We might be able to destroy these.
I don't know.
Well, we'll put that on our list of things to do. I would not mind cleansing this place, as it were, but we have to make it back to the surface first. Is the door the last thing we have to check in there, Tom?
The door is the last thing, yeah.
All right, let's open that door. Be ready for anything.
While he's doing that,
Stop. Yeah, go ahead, John.
no, just while they're doing that, I'm going to run an Arcana check on the room, see if I can sense my book or any other books or magic or anything. That's 25.
This doesn't look like the kind of place you'd keep a book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could search through the amphora, but like, if your book was in one of these things while it was burning, obviously it would probably be burnt up, but none of them were hot enough to burn your book. It looks like these things were used in a ritual that was a magical ritual for sure. Recently, you do get the sense from the sword that's there that it's not done. How much did Abel tell you about how blades are charneled?
He did not tell me much.
Okay. It's really hard to tell. It's really hard to tell, but your book is not here.
And anything coming from the door?
Give me a perception check. This is all of you. Give me a perception check. Even Felipe is going to give one. He puts his ear up to the door too.
14 for Jonas.
Okay.
20 for Filner.
Okay. And yeah, Felipe. Felipe says, "Don't worry, there's nothing here."
Wait a second.
Filner, 20 is good. You think you hear movement on the other side of this door, or at the very least, breathing.
I'll whisper, "Felipe, Ionis, I'm pretty sure something is on the other side of this door. I cannot tell what. It sounds alive. At the very least, it's breathing that I'm hearing. Should we announce ourselves?
No.
Or open the door and take whatever's inside by surprise?"
I'm going to say in Filner's mind.
Oh, that's right. We have the telepathic talk.
I think actually we can still talk. I think we can still talk this way, Filner, to be honest.
Hi, Paulson. No, I'm just kidding.
But I say I am ready. If you open the door, I am ready.
As am I. And I'll put the torch. I'll set the. Are there sconces or anything you can put the torch into so you can see, or I can? I guess I can stick it into one of the vases and just have it.
It's actually this door does have 2 sconces with equipped oil lamps with oil in them, like against the wall, so you could light those oil lamps.
Yeah.
And Felipe says, "Hold, let me do this." And he sits down on the ground and he begins to pray. And there's a sort of a tremor around him, and it is enough of a tremor that like someone on the other side of the door might be able to hear it. But they've surely already heard you traipsing around this room. You haven't like purposely been
Right.
trying to be
Quiet.
super stealthy.
Yeah.
And a very small little creature sort of appears in his hand, almost like smoke, and he takes it and is holding it in his hand, and he sets it on the ground, and this little bitty winged creature smaller than Felipe even, darts up in the air and says, "Master, what is your bidding?" And he says, "All right, it's good to see you again. Shall we do this?" And the small creature flies up to the door and says, "I hear your thoughts, Master. As always, I hear your thoughts." And it goes next to the door, and it sort of leans down and pops and disappears into the room. And Felipe says, "She does not see anything. Vilnia, are you sure?"
I heard what sounded like breathing. Suppose it could have been wind. We are in a cave that may have weird echoes, but can she see well?
No.
Maybe she should look
She does
harder.
not see well at all. I just looked at the character sheet. There is no dark vision.
Is there any space under the door?
Very little. Very little.
I'm gonna let Saber land on the ground, go flat, and then make sound under the door.
He immediately hears two creatures. One small and one medium. bigger than small.
Vilnia, there are two creatures in there. I'm supposing one of them is Felipe's, whatever that was. And there's definitely something else in there.
As I thought. Well, I suppose we should clear the mine. Shall we?
For Abel.
For Abel.
For the priest of war.
And we open the door.
Okay.
Is it open?
So it opens. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to roll for initiative.
All right, 14 for Aeonis.
12 for Filnir.
Okay.
Not what I was hoping for this turn.
Well, let's see here. So you open this door, and you're sort of backlit. So you're still outside the room. The oil lamps are on, so it's sort of very hard to see inside this room. And you see that about 10 feet in is a small pixie-like creature, the one that Felipe created, and that's sort of it. This room is super dark. Your torchlight is illuminating the first 10 feet or so of it. It is what you see so far, very fancy. The ground is covered in some kind of rug that is changing color. It's clearly been woven. Jonas, you are up first.
I don't see anything.
You don't see anything.
Okay.
I mean, you see what you see. You see the first 10 feet in and the pixie, but you don't see anything
but
else.
I don't see I know that there's something there, but
You
I
know
don't
something's
see
there.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
All right. This hurts a little bit, but I'm assuming it is Felipe opened the door, Filnir standing ready with a sword, and I'm behind Filnir.
Yes, that's correct.
Filnir has quiet dark out.
Yep.
Is it dark enough? Is the sword invisible?
Yes.
Okay. He opens the door. I don't see anything, and I immediately cast greater invisibility on Filnir.
All right. Cool. Felipe is going to move. He is going to cast Healing Spirit, and you see oh no, he's not. That's also concentration. Nope, he's just going to move into this room. he moves into the darkness and he disappears beyond his pixie. And then you see that his pixie sort of misty steps back out to you and creates a small, like a very small cloud of darkness right in front of you, Jonas. It's only about 5 feet tall. And she says, "You could duck if you choose,
You're gonna give
and
me a
I will
reaction to
hide
duck?
you." What's that? Yeah, you can use. Do you want to use a reaction? I was just going to let you do a free action. To duck.
Free action. Awesome.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah.
Free action.
Yep. Okay. All right. And so Filnir is invisible. Felipe Madamba is inside the darkness, and he is going to be attacked, and he is going to be surprised.
So that's a straight roll then, yeah.
Straight roll. And that is going to hit him. And 6 piercing and 26 poison damage. And
Damn, that's crazy poison.
he's gonna roll just the piercing part of this again.
There's no
13.
nothing
Okay.
on the poison, no save or anything.
He's gonna he's gonna have to save for this. All right. Constitution, Felipe. That sucks. 14. So he is he takes a lot of damage. Suddenly Felipe goes, "Ah! He's here! He's here!" And the pixie says, "Oh no! Oh no!" And then she let's see if she disappears. And she disappears, and your darkness protecting you, Jonas, also disappears. Oh, Felipe Madamba. Oh, it's terrible. Okay. All right. And it is you, Filnir.
Now, do I see anybody?
You can see Felipe, and then from the shadows just to the side of him, you see another Grimlock, and this Grimlock looks like he's built to party. He's got leather armor on, and he's got 2 short swords out.
Got it. Okay. What to do? All right, well, I'm invisible, so I am going to make my way over to him and swing my sword.
Yeah, you are.
Which should get advantage, right? Because I'm invisible.
Yep.
Okay. All right, here we go. That is 13 to hit on the first one.
That's not going to do it.
All right, and then I will swing again. 23 to hit.
Yeah, that's going to definitely hit.
Okay. And that does 6 slashing damage, but I'm not in the mood for this bullshit. So I'm going to smite him.
Oh my God. Okay. All right.
Which happens at 5th level. 1 second. Let me roll my dice here. It's a few D8. That ends up with 19 damage, and he is prone.
Oh, does he have to save for it, or is he just automatically proned?
Nope. If he's less than huge, I can knock him prone.
All right. Geez, that's pretty huge. Okay. So you knock him down, and as your sword first hits him, and the sort of the dark power of your master of your pact lashes out at him. You see that from the bottom of the right side of his chin, of his jaw, actually, a tiny tentacle pops out from it. And he turns to look at you, very surprised, and
Well, he can't
obviously
see me.
doesn't see you. You know, and then he is like knocked to the ground and skitters across, and he makes this super weird sound, and you see that the tentacle comes into his mouth, and as it does so, you hear him speak directly and say, "Where's my master?" And it is you, Jonas. And you see all of this. You see the weird-looking Grimlock on the ground with his tentacle in his mouth.
All right.
And the room is becoming a little bit clearer to you.
Mhm.
It is a bedroom, a bedchamber, and it is full of both human books and these little cages that are full of long steel poles that have something on them. It's hard to tell what they are, but they have these squiggly lines on them.
Okay. I see that he's pathetic, but we've got to get rid of him, especially how bad he hurt Felipe. I'm going to hold my hand out, and I'm going to cast Frostbite on him. That's a DC 16 con save.
Con save. Okay, let's see if he can do it. He gets an 18
Okay, all
on
right.
his con save.
So that's I got potent cantrip, so he'll take half of that. I rolled an 11, so I guess 5 damage.
So do you get to add your intelligence modifier to all cantrips, or just to the cantrips with attack rolls?
No, I add them to all cantrips, and I added the 4 to it.
Oh, okay.
It was just really. I rolled a 5,
it's
5,
sort
a
of
1, and a 1, and then
sad
plus
roll.
4. Yeah, just
Okay.
sad roll. So.
Okay. All right. He's, "Oh, but you're not my master. Where is my master? I can't hear him in my brain." Okay. And Felipe, he is really like not having this, but he's got this guy on the ground, and he is going to lash out at him
With advantage.
With
If it's melee.
advantage.
Yeah.
It is melee. It is in fact melee. Thank you for the setup, half elf. And he hits, and ooh, nice. He's gonna hit him again, and so he slashes out, and both of his hits are just like, the guy's laying down on the ground, and Felipe is now just, he's tiny. He's only about 2.5 feet tall, and so he is actually just like, knife cutting down like a 1980s horror film with an ice pick, like just right in the guy's chest, and he stabs him 2 times, really, really bad. And he says, "Keep hitting him. He's not dead yet." And this weird-looking human Grimlock stands up, and he looks like he's about to try to cast something, but instead of casting anything, he darts past you.
Can I get a reaction?
No. He has taken the disengage action.
Blade.
But don't worry, he is.
Blade, Tom.
so don't worry though. He doesn't get very far because he had to use it as an action. So he gets out about to Jonas, and it is now your turn, Filnir.
All right, I guess I have to close the distance. And swing some more.
Kill him!
20 to hit. Cumulative.
That hits, yes.
6 slashing. I feel like my dice are stuck on this number. That's a 1 on my D8. It's not good. It's the same as I rolled last time.
That's really bad.
No, it's really bad. Okay, here comes the second swing. 19 to hit.
That's going to hit.
Let's find that floor, shall we?
Let's see.
8.
Okay, at least
8
that
damage,
much.
I mean.
Okay. All right. You hit him. He still is like, he obviously knows there's an invisible thing that's hitting him, but he is very confused about why his master is not bringing him to her.
Ooh, her.
Yes.
There's a tell. All right, well, that's my turn.
All right. And it's back to you, Jonas. You have a Grimlock with a tentacle sticking out of his jaw and going into his mouth right next to you. You killed my master.
Ugh.
Where's the death of her on it?
Uh,
Where's the death of her on it?
I'm so spent, but we got to take this guy down. All right, he's coming, and I just kind of stumble back and release a magic missile on the guy. And that's going to be that's a 3, so 3 + 1 + 4, which is an 8 times 3,
Jeez.
which is going to be 24 damage.
Wow. He just like pop, pop, pop. He hits him. He is so confused right now. Like, he's so crazy confused as what's going on. You just see, like, he is now seeing that, like, the other Grimlock is dead on the dais. He sees the iron sword that has been pulled from the amphora, and he turns to look at you, Jonas, and he looks like he's going to cast something, and then nothing happens as a reaction to when you're attacking him. And Felipe Madamba throws his last dagger axe at this dude, and it hits, and it just hits him square in the head, and you see a small trickle of black blood, and as it goes down his nose, the blood turns red from black. And then before it goes down, it drips over his mouth. The tentacle is still in his mouth. And then before it gets down to the bottom of his tentacle, it turns white and drips in the ground, and he falls over dead.
Oof. Is this place still full of beasts? What's happening?
It's a body, man. I mean, it's also a body, man.
I see. Are there any more? Is that... I'm nearly spent.
I don't hear anything. And Felipe goes and grabs a torch again and lights his torch on the oil lamp. And he goes inside this like beautiful bed chamber and lights oil lanterns that are on the inside of this room. And you can see that there are rugs on top of rugs. And while it has not been kept very clean, it is dusty and it is dank. It is very high. It's a noble's bedchamber, Jonas. It looks, it's different in style from what you might see in Monterre. It is clearly human in its aesthetics. There is a bed that is made for a human height, but it is so wide. It is like enough for 7 or 8 people to sleep on at the same time. A ton of books and a ton of these poles. And Felipe just looks around and says, "Is this your book?" And he reaches into another amphora, and the amphora has a single book in it, and he pulls it out, and it is your spell book.
Oh, yes. You found it. And I grab it.
And that amphora has a drawing on it, and it is it looks like a small tunnel with a light, and it's just like a small cloud of books on the amphora.
How did it get here? Was this the work of that lady mage?
Felipe, what do you know about this? Were they trying to channel my book?
I don't know anything about this. And he looks at the drawings and he says, I don't know. Let's see. It's magic. This thing is magic. Look there. And there's a panel that is on the other side of the amphora, and he pops it open. It is the same control mechanism that was on the panel on the ramp. It's got something to do with a light well, I guess. I don't know. Just get the books you want to get out of here. I think we have cleared this mine. We're gonna need people in here stationed to protect this place.
I'm gonna go look at the panel.
It's it looks just like the panel in the main room, and it has the sort of spinning ladybone ball that's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you push down on it, this one is a little bit different in the sense that as you turn the ladybone ball, you're seeing different light wells. So you're not just controlling one light well, you're sort of looking through the light wells. And you're kind of futzing around with it. You could probably figure out how to do this thing with enough time. But at this point, it's like trying to learn to play PlayStation 4 when you've never seen a video game machine before. It would take some time for you.
Sure.
Filnir,
Yes.
I can see other light wells through this. I do not know what form of magic this is, but if
Can you watch the whole mine from here?
it seems I can see everything.
Maybe Brinque was not as omnipotent as he presented himself to be. Maybe he simply tooled this mine with ways to see things. But perhaps we can use that to our advantage. Are there any other entries into this room, Tom, or is this...
It seems to be the end of the line. There are, all the caves that have been cut in to the ramp. But for now, that all seems quiet.
Right, but just for this room, this is sort of the end of it.
This is the end of this room.
Okay.
And Felipe looks around and is sort of looking at these things, and he says, "At the very least, I think this is very valuable." And he starts to cast something, and he walks over to a shelf of books, and he just like scrapes the books off and puts it on this thing, which is floating. It's this small, it's like a disc that is floating there. And he says, I picked this up from Kekaset. And he starts piling on as much as he can onto this thing. He says, "It only holds 500 pounds. Choose wisely, wizard. We should get out of here."
Yes, we will need it for Abel's armor and the stone as well.
Well, if we have indeed secured this place, we need to have it guarded, and we can come back. For now, I'd like to collect everything of Abel's. Maybe a few books. And if I can, I want to look around for like a small urn or spell scroll, a scroll tube or something.
Yeah, you find something you're looking for. Sure.
We've come so far, Filnir. If I could collect his ashes, perhaps we can bring them home.
I think that would be... Well, I think we should.
So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna grab the quote unquote urn that I found, and I see his spear as we walk out that we probably missed walking in. Let's say I'll just do a big sigh and go and touch it and just say,
"Goodbye, old friend." Felipe, I believe this is the spear Abel was carrying. If you could carry it back for us.
It would be my honor. And the disc follows behind him, and when you get to the exit of the cave, Rollo's there, and Florin is there, and several other retainers, and they send a few men in, and Florin wishes them well and treats them as though they're being sent to their death, and says, stay here until we come back. I'll send force in here, but we don't want to have to take this thing again. Run if you have to. and I assume you tell them what happened to Abel on the way back, and it's pretty somber. It's I don't think either one of you quite realized it, but the folks of Lakenhearth, they knew you were a king, Jonas, and Filnir. They knew you had this like weird power that was tapping into something that they hadn't experienced before. But Abel was kind of one of them. He was the missing cleric that had not ever like come back after their priest was cut down in war. And this whole town has known so much death over the years, and they do follow Tempest as well. And there's a big feast that night. They send troops back out. Florin actually goes with them. And you guys get to recover some. Percy is devastated by this, and largely because he's like, we have to go and we have to find a new priest for you, master. I didn't think we were ever going to find anyone better than Bonrus, but we have. We had. We had. We. And
I never viewed him in that way, Mr. Percy. I wanted to use whatever I could to help give him more power, but he was my friend.
He was mine as well. A very fine man. And Galwinia, she tells you, Filnir, some of the things that she heard about Abel beforehand, and she was never quite positive that you were traveling with the Abel Snowflower, the Abel Rock Brother. And at dinner that night, she stands up and she makes a toast, and she says, I believe that this valley, there's more to it than meets the eye, but there's also exactly what meets the eye in it, and I feel like we only got to scratch the surface of this priest of Tempest and his practical outlook on the world, and the fact that he was always willing to talk even to the lowliest of people. He was noble in carriage, but he was one of us. And so I raise a glass.
He was.
And you all sleep not well. Several days go by of moping and recovering, and the dwarves have moved into the mine and they're super happy about it. They figured out how to bring stone up. I think you're sort of listless a little bit. There's things to be done, but Abel was sort of the one who was sort of keeping you pointed in a direction. And on the third night, Jonas, you're awoken by a familiar voice. And standing right next to you, over you, is a creature, a person, with a white porcelain mask on and ruby red eyes on the mask. And what else, Sam?
A black cloak that sort of comes down and almost shadows the entire face, but the inner lining of it is bright white. So when it moves, you sort of see these flashes of white in the darkness.
Hello?
Did I wake you?
Wait. Yes. Who are you? What do you want?
I'm sorry, I forgot. And I take the mask off, and it is your half-brother Schnobik.
What the fuck?
What?
What the fuck have you done?
This is my my traveling gear.
Snowbik.
Helps me leave the grove.
What on earth Have you broken her control? What on earth are you doing here?
It's good to see you too, brother.
Obviously, it's great. I'm stunned. I've been trying to figure out a way to help you, free you from. How, Snowbick? It is so good to see you. How?
Ionis, I don't want to get sidetracked into this, but I've always had more freedom than you assumed. You think I'm still some little brother that you have to take care of. I'm living the life I've chosen.
All right. Well, then, brother, what brings you here?
News travels fast in the Underdark. The undead keep few secrets, if any, and dwergers gossip like old maids. News of your grief has reached the White Lady.
I'm sure she was pretty happy to hear of my grief. Come to rub it in, have you?
She's not happy at your grief, but she sees an opportunity.
And what is that?
She requires your service. You've acquired a fair bit of power in this valley, a fair bit of personal power yourself. She would like your assistance in a matter that is delicate and vital.
Vital to...
To her interests, of course.
Would this have anything to do with the mine that we've just taken?
None save that it is proof of your ability. The Alhoun is a dangerous foe. And, frankly, a fair bit of an asshole.
All right. Color me intrigued. What would you have me do, Schnurbeck?
Well, that is really for her to discuss with you.
So is there a meeting?
There is. She has authorized me to discuss the terms of your payment, your recompense.
Recompense?
She, and trust me when I say that proof positive of this will be given to you. I have seen it myself. She can return your priest to you.
In what way? In exchange for what?
As for the manner, I could tell you, you would not believe me. You will have to see it. In terms of the task itself, I cannot discuss it here. She will relay it to you herself, only in her inner sanctum. Suffice to say that it is not counter to your current interests, and will not involve harm to any of your subjects.
Schnurbeck, I'm sure it comes as no surprise that your free actions, as you so claim, have become rather a thorn in my side.
And you as well, brother.
May I be accompanied by my friend Filnir?
I would expect nothing less.
When would she like this meeting?
As soon as we may depart. If you prefer to travel in the day, I can accommodate it. I do not prefer it.
Just a moment. I go and wake up Filnir.
He's incredibly hard to wake. It's almost like it's almost like he's been slightly drugged, and you have to really like pound on him to get him up.
Snowbeck, my friend, he will be along momentarily. Filnir, wake up, Filnir.
he
Sorry,
he will,
we're holding for the water heater, everybody.
Yeah. Bath time.
dads.
Go ahead. Give it to me. Bath time, baby. Don't you want to take a bath? Bath time.
If he will be along momentarily. Uh, might we meet you outside in an hour?
In the town square.
Town square.
Very well. And he sweeps out of the room, and you notice he has 2 rapier scabbards slung over his back, but only one of them is filled.
I just watch him.
I'm sorry, I was having a dream. Did you call me?
I'm sorry, Vilvier. I understand we've been through a lot. You will never believe who woke me and who is waiting for us outside.
Really?
It's Snowbick. Snowbick is here. He woke me up. He's outside.
I don't believe you.
I probably shouldn't have told him to leave. I understand how crazy this sounds, especially when it comes to my brother. However, if you've ever trusted me, trust me now.
Might we have a bit of tea first? Some bula.
I told him we'd meet him in an hour.
Okay, I'm still quite groggy. I'm sorry. Oh,
It's no worries. I would love to explain to you what's happening, and maybe you can talk me through it, because honestly, I have no idea what to do.
I can talk. I don't even understand what's happening. How can I talk you through it? But just give me a moment. I'll set a kettle on or something and make some tea. Drink some tea. Wake up a little bit.
While that's happening, I'll explain what's happening. Hopefully, it sounds too crazy to have made up.
Okay, so let me make sure I have this straight. You're telling me Schnobik has leeway to leave when he wants, travels with a mask, and wants to set a meeting with you and the White Lady for some sort of service that would be of use to her. Is that right?
Well, when you say it like that.
Which we would be paid for. Yes?
In some way, he said that she could return Abel to us.
What?
I do not know, and he will not let me know anything further. He said that the White Lady will explain all. My thought is that this has been a giant question mark for quite some time, and this could be a way to get some questions answered. However, it is walking into the lion's den.
Well, we've been there once before.
We have, and I can get us out of there quite a bit faster than I could before.
As can I. It seems also your brother, while he may not be on our side, is at least in some sense willing to help. Or perhaps he's simply a lure to get us into the mouth of the White Lady, so to speak. But I'm not sure what choice we have. I would give nearly anything to get Abel back.
As would I.
And perhaps she is simply aware of that and taking advantage.
And with me doubly so, because I'm also elated to have my brother back.
I can't even imagine. I suppose we should hear her out.
Well, he said it's better to leave at night.
May I meet Schnobik?
It's about that time. Shall we go? Let us go.
Let's go.
All right, we go to the town square to meet Schnobik.
What are you doing out in the town square? Oh, by the way, several guards, like you see them walk like toward the town square, because you're on high alert. You guys are now, Fort Lakenhearth, for lack of a better word. They see him and they completely ignore him, almost like he's not even there. But they acknowledge him. They sort of like nod at him as they pass. And Schnobik, what are you doing there?
Paint me a picture of the Lake and Hearth town square.
So Lake and Hearth, there is so close to the lake, it's weird that the central corridor would be a well, but this is really built around a giant freshwater well that goes very, very, very deep. And so there are several places for people to drop buckets into this well here. The town square itself has room for a marketplace that Schnobik has never been to, but he may have been here before he ventured out into the bramble. But it's enough room for 8 or 9 traveling shopkeepers to set up right inside the square. The tavern has 2 buildings that are at the north side, and then it's sort of flanked by a blacksmith shop, a sort of general goods store, and then there's apartments up above on each one of those 2 levels, like a small western square, places to tie your horses up. The road is gravel and quite nice. The actual square is grass, and there's some trees growing up around the well.
So in a shaft of moonlight, sitting on the edge of the well with one knee propped up, kind of casually, and he has his sword out, and there's just a shink, shink as he's sharpening it, and you see, this faint rain of white sparks coming off of it. And as you get closer, you can tell he's not actually holding anything in his hand. He's got this impossibly long, thin sword in this very dull, dark gray metal. And his hand, as he runs his hand across it, sort of sheds this white flame. And clearly the sword does not need to be sharpened. He's kind of doing this as you could call it a nervous tick or a meditation or just, a habit that he's used to. But he's sitting there passing the time, just shh, shh.
Ho, Schnobik.
Brother?
Well,
Schnobik.
It's as I said, Filnir. Schnobik is here.
I'm gonna give him a hard look up and down. Is his mask on or off?
Off. And I stand up and give Filnir a similarly sizing up look.
Does he look like the Schnobik that I've seen?
He's cleaner. He's cleaner. You have not seen him in his sort of
Finery.
Yeah, his and let's not kid ourselves. He looks like he's ready for a fight. He's got studded leather on underneath his thing. You can sort of make that out. He has incredibly expensive looking boots made of some kind of leather that you don't recognize, but they are light colored, right, Sam?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you recognize him, but
Okay.
he doesn't look wild anymore at all. He's actually very handsome.
Here is the delicate moment of this diplomacy. I've made you an offer. And if you believe me, then it's the most generous offer that's possibly ever been made to you. And if you don't believe me, I've given you the greatest offense I could possibly give. And now we see which it is.
Schnobik, if we go with you, what assurances can you give?
None. Except my word and the White Lady's, which, despite all our differences in the past, has never been broken.
Schnobik, may I ask, what becomes of those who don't like the White Lady's terms? Perhaps if she asks something that we cannot bring ourselves to do.
He's thinking and I'm thinking. You may have to give some assurances in return. the nature of the task she would give to you will also entail giving of certain secret knowledge that is not common knowledge in the valley. What additional assurances she might require to ensure that stays secret and safe, I do not know. So yes, there is some risk, but I assume there will be some preamble. I've merely been sent to make contact and to proffer our hand.
Do we have assurances that if we are unable to come to an agreement with the White Lady, that we will be allowed to leave unharmed?
No.
So we are to enter her domain, subjecting ourselves to whatever potential dangers there are within, on the hope that she might bring back a beloved member of our party who is now deceased, with no chance to walk away should we not like the terms. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not saying no chance to walk away. I'm saying you will have to come to some agreement that I'm not authorized to confirm, deny, or make myself. And I know not what the consequences would be. I have seen many who have crossed the White Lady, and none have liked the outcome. If you can disengage from this task without crossing her,
Snowpick.
so be it.
So none. Go ahead.
The
Iris.
risk is not inconsiderable from your perspective, I understand. The reward is great. Not only in your feeling, this priest has the power to swing the balance of power in this valley. She would not give him to you lightly.
Another guard walks past and nods his head at you all and says, "Sir, are these men bothering you?"
Is he referring to me and Ionis?
The guard is speaking to Schnobik.
Shit.
No, we're fine. Thank you.
What,
Good evening, sirs. Be well.
What is-
It's late.
do I recognize the guard?
No, I mean, there's so many new people here. He doesn't. You do not recognize this guy. This is a steady stream of new marshals have been coming into town, and you two kind of look like you just rolled out of bed or were camping out, right? Like you're not this guy looks like a noble.
Right. Although I can't imagine I wouldn't have come out like ready to leave if we were going to leave.
Yeah,
we
Yeah,
had an
I mean,
hour.
we had an hour. We
so
had
I've probably got dressed and put my armor on and
I should correct myself. You guys look like you're ready for the road. This guy looks like he's ready for a ball.
yeah. Okay.
Snowpick.
Brother.
Clearly, you have power that I do not understand. Clearly, you have allegiances that are your own. And indeed, it seems you have everything you've ever wanted. But I need you to look at me. We grew up together. Should I go with you?
Yes.
And that's where we'll leave episode 59 of the Dungeon Dads podcast.
Ooh, Sam. Sam. Come on now, Sam.
You guys think we're going to have anything to talk about in the bonus?
Yeah, this is a boring
Nothing
one.
at all. Yeah, it's boring.
Go straight to 60.
No bonus next week, patron. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Nothing to see here. No, but seriously, for all you thinking about being a patron, jump in there. Lots of content.
It's a good one.
Lots of content to get
It's a
in
good
there.
one.
I mean,
We just had
especially
a really good episode of MCM as well.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
especially after the previous episode, you
Yeah.
know, there was a ton to talk about. It was real solid discussion. Anyway, patreon.com/Dungeon Dads. Drop us a review if you would, please, on iTunes, Podchaser, wherever you can leave a 5. Make sure you're subscribed. And
All our
we'll
links
catch
in the
you-
show notes.
Yeah.
That's right.
And some references when we make them, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Although this one, pretty devoid of references. And,
We'll
and I
find a few.
realized,
They're in there.
Well,
yeah, Sam was
we
quiet.
got a little Alfred Lord Tennyson in the beginning, though.
Yeah,
so,
we did.
We'll
We
link
did,
to
yeah.
that.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, everybody.
All
Toodaloo.
right, everyone. Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.
Chubba